Welcome here from the European Forum 2023 in the beautiful village of Alpbach. It's a typical Tyrolean village and it's a very, very beautiful surrounding and setting. And I want to show you some of the central places. Yeah, this is of course the church square. Over there is the so-called Böglerhof. Beyond it is the conference center, which I have shown you already. It's very beautiful sunny day and I will show you some of these places and how they are structured and how everything looks in this amazing European Forum. It was created in the year 45 actually, and secretly told it's of course American invention, because the idea was to create a democratic Europe, to build the core of a civil society. And in the August of 45 it was already the moment when they started to go in the direction to assemble students and youth leaders, and then to have a wonderful setting in this village. It was actually picked up because of the willingness of that. I think one of these restaurant owners' families, they have been ready to feed the students and the participants, the speakers, with a cow. Actually, that's the story. And then they decided to come here. There was accommodation, there was food, and then they started this forum. And it's since then ever they started an NGO. And we have several think tanks which the Americans have created after the war in order to create the Austrian civil society which is different to the past. And that's exactly what happened with the Forum Alpbach. And it was Mr. Molden is the most famous, and that's still very famous publisher. He died in the meantime, obviously, because that was in 45. They were just students who worked in the resistance. They were courageous people, and then they built this, not a student think tank, but it was for the adults, and they wanted to go in politics. Sadly enough, the Austrian politicians who in Vienna created the Second Republic after the war, they really didn't want to know anything of these liberal ideas and this openness and all the things. And so they were not very successful to form a liberal, open Austria. But they were very successful to build this forum, and they had some influence over the time, obviously. And this is now the biggest kind of village of thinkers, they call it, the biggest place in Austria. And actually, it's a bit of the competition to Davos, maybe to explain it like this. And it's very, very beautiful. You see, this is the village, this is the mountains. It's embedded between the so-called Gratusspitze on the top, and then you see a lot of this typical alpine infrastructure. Now during the forum in the summer, and also in the winter, in the peak season, these hotels are quite expensive already. You see here some of these new facilities, really quite impressive. Some of them are, well, not new but renovated. There's quite a lot of new hotels over there. Interesting, yeah. And the whole village here is booming because of the idea, and that's why I always promote this, because such a forum, such a major event is a wonderful thing to promote rural tourism, because you get attractive people, speakers, and then the village is more famous. It's every day in the Austrian Alps, in the Austrian media, and basically you need, in my view, a similar forum in each country. And in one of the regions. I have called already for Brezovica Forum. I called a Bled Forum, is now the competition in Slovenia. And of course, Putin has learned the lesson as well. He has the Petersburg Forum and the Valdai Forum. Yeah, that's the enemy alliance. And here, obviously, what they miss is a kind of to have a road traffic, because still they need a bypass road, because there is quite a lot of heavy traffic through the village, which is of course a bit of a pity. But they would, from the geography, need a tunnel. That's a bit complicated, but it's my favorite village and I really like it a lot. Yeah. Here the church, here Mr. Schrödinger is buried, the famous Austrian scientist, who would also love that, because for many expatriate Austrians, they like that part of Austria, this alpine atmosphere, and also they liked here the idea of openness, of transparency, because in the summer we always dream about the European Austria, open Austria, how good everything could be done. And in reality, it's not done like that. Afterwards, they always go back home and they do the same nonsense in Vienna like they generally do. Here, this is really quite impressive. I was once living here for my stay. Now I'm in another village close, and it's actually very efficient shuttle service. The conference center is very nice. It's really a very, very pleasant experience to spend a week here in the mountains, as I do now. and also enjoy the beauty of that amazing architecture, the nature, the Tyrolean food, and of course the discussions in the forum. It's quite a tight schedule. I really run from event to event. It's quite a dynamic thing, and this part is a bit downhill. I've shown you already the conference center, so that's the other video you can see. And then basically this is now some parts walking downhill. And there is summer tourism, so it's a mix really. There's people who are just doing normal summer tourism, especially from Germany, from Italy, also from all over Europe. And they enjoy the summer scenery. Now we have a bit better weather. It's of course always a little bit rainy here, end of August, but the peak of the summer season is over. They have a wonderful culture of keeping their houses with flowers decorated, and all the scenery is very clean and sweet. The traffic is well managed here, and the accommodation is always very difficult to get anything because it's a very big farm. But what they do actually, and that's one thing I have also in many of my talks, and I have already, they have this card of a tourism card like Dubrovnik card. Here it's called obviously Alpbach card. And during the time, for example, you can have, I think, parking and other things. You can have also the access to the gondola, and it's a system to entice local consumption of accommodation. And because the accommodation holders, the ones who go into the hotels, they have that. And that's something well advanced tourism management. And then in the effect, a village looks like that. Of course, it's all expanding, because we always have this too much land is used. But in reality, this village is expanding. There's active tourism, there's conference tourism, there's summer tourism, there's of course winter tourism. And it all works, and the idea is to keep prosperity in the region. This is what we want. We want to have a Europe of the region where it's possible to live in Alpbach or in other villages and to have prosperity here. And you need an integrated regional management of the whole concept. And here I have Fehlinger House. This is where I will go now, because there's the next event. And this is the road towards the valley of the inn. And that's basically how this village works, yeah. And this is now the scenery back to the Krattelspitz. And here outside you have the facilities like a small commercial area. This is the fire brigade office, because they have various places. They have the school is then a conference center, because there's thousands of people here and many parallel events. Everybody can choose his topics as he likes. And here we are in the Fehlinger House. Yes, guys, that's it. It's very beautiful. I want to show you as well, to have a conference center like this. Of course, it's a huge investment. It's not so easy, but I really recommend that for all countries. We should one have in Kosovo, absolutely. We should one have in Macedonia, in Mavrovo, in Ohrid, and we should have every alpine village, every mountain village, one country, one conference center like this. This is a wonderful way for economic development, and also a good way to discuss the future of a country, bring all together and discuss it. It's just a shame that the Chancellor didn't come this year, but I just discussed with the Minister of Finance. There's half of the government here, and this is the way it has to be done. The European spirit must be discussed all the time, and must be elaborated, and must be developed by constant discussions every year again. Yeah, that's the spirit of this magic village, and yeah, the ghost of Alpbach and the European spirit. I want to contribute to bring that back, to revitalize it, and for a European Austria. By the way, join NATO, and it will. Bye.